Emma Chamberlain sat cross-legged on her living room floor, her back leaning against the soft beige sofa she always said she'd replace next week, a promise she had been breaking for 6 months straight. The late morning sun poured through the wide window, her apartment into a warm blur of gold. She had slept poorly again, one of those nights where her mind replayed every unresolved thing she pretended not to miss. Coffee wasn't helping, meditation wasn't helping, even cleaning her kitchen, her usual emergency therapy, hadn't helped. The only thing left to do was record. She pulled her microphone closer, slipped her oversized headphones on, and opened her laptop. The blank audio track stared back at her. It looked like a mirror, quiet, empty, waiting for her to fill it with something honest she wasn't sure she had today. She inhaled, pressed record. "Hi guys," she began softly. "Welcome back to another episode of Anything Goes." Her voice had that half-tired, half-tender tone she got when she wasn't ready for the world, but couldn't hide from it either. "I don't know what kind of mood I'm in today," she continued. "Somewhere between nostalgic and annoyed, maybe. You ever wake up missing something you know you shouldn't?" She paused, unsure why she had said that. "Anyway," she murmured quickly, brushing it aside. "Today is Listener Audio Message Day. You guys sent a ton, and we'll see how many we get through." She clicked the first message. A young guy asked for gym routine tips. Easy answer. The next was a girl asking how Emma handled friendships when life got busy. Another asked about fashion inspiration. The usual comfort zone topics. Then she clicked on a message labelled simply "For Emma, important." She hesitated. Something about the label felt heavy, even before hearing a single word. She almost skipped it, but curiosity tugged at her. She pressed play. A shaky inhale filled her headphones. "Hi, Emma." The girl's voice cracked slightly on the word "hi." She sounded young, maybe 19, maybe younger. Her voice carried that softness people had when they were trying really hard not to cry. "I'm sorry if this sounds stupid," the girl whispered, "but I don't really know who else to tell." Emma straightened a little. "I'm still in love with my ex," the girl continued, voice trembling. "And it's been almost a year." Emma swallowed, hard. The girl went on. "We broke up because he said he wasn't ready. He said he needed time. He said he didn't want to hurt me, and I believed him. I still believe him. That's the problem." Emma froze, literally forgot to breathe. The girl's voice cracked again. "I see him with someone else now, and I still love him. I still hope he'll come back. I still pretend I'm fine, but I don't think I am. I feel like I'm stuck, like I'm waiting for someone who already moved on." Emma's pulse quickened. She stared at nothing, the screen blurring in front of her. The girl continued, heartbreak spilled into words. "I know I should get over him, everyone says so, but how do you stop loving someone who felt like home? How did you do it, Emma? Because I know you've talked about heartbreak before, and I just want to know I'm not alone." The audio ended, just like that. And Emma felt something inside her drop, slow and heavy, like a stone sinking to the bottom of her chest. Her hand hovered near her mouth. She blinked hard, trying to steady her breathing. She wasn't fine. She started, her voice catching. She muted her mic, pressed her palms into her eyes, stayed like that for 10 seconds, maybe longer. The silence felt loud. When she finally unmuted, her voice was different, soft, trembling, stripped of all the influencer polish. "Okay," she whispered. "Wow." She let out a shaky laugh, the kind that wasn't funny at all. "That one, yeah, that hit me." She paused again, trying to gather herself, but the emotions were too familiar, too close to where she had been not long ago. "Because," she said slowly, "you just described a version of me I try really hard not to think about." She exhaled, long and slow. "There was someone," she continued, her voice thinning, "someone I really loved. And when it ended, it didn't really end for me, not inside." She stared at the floor, remembering. "We broke up for the same reason you said. He wasn't ready. He needed to figure himself out. He said he didn't want to hurt me, but the truth is, he already was. Just by leaving." Her fingers fiddled with the edge of her sweatshirt. "I remember waking up for months thinking about him. Months. I'd check my phone like an idiot, hoping he'd say he missed me, or that he made a mistake, or that he realized that no one else understood him the way I did." She laughed softly, a painful, self-aware laugh. "He never did." Another breath. "And, the first time I saw him with someone else, I swear it felt like the floor opened under me, like my whole body was too heavy to stand. She blinked quickly as her eyes burned. "So when you said you still love your ex," Emma whispered, I get it. God, I get it so much." Her voice broke slightly. "It's really hard to stop loving someone who felt like home, because we don't just lose them, we lose the future we imagined, the version of ourselves that existed with them, the comfort, the familiarity." She shook her head. "I used to think love just turned off if enough time passed, like a switch, but it's not like that. Love fades like bruises, slow, uneven, painful when touched." She pressed her lips together, and sometimes the bruise comes back when you least expect it. She paused, looked down. Her hands were shaking slightly. "Here's the part that sucks," she whispered. "You can love someone who isn't yours anymore, and that love can still feel real, but it doesn't mean they're meant to come back." She swallowed hard. "The version of him you're waiting for doesn't exist anymore, and honestly, neither does the version of you who loved him." Her breath caught. That sentence hurt even her. "I wish someone told me back then that love doesn't disappear, it transforms, and that being in love with a memory is not the same as being in love with a person." Another pause. Emma lifted her hand to her cheek, wiping a tear silently. "You are not alone," she whispered. "You're not pathetic. You're not dramatic. You're not stuck. You're grieving, and grief is what happens when love has nowhere to go." Her voice softened even more. "And maybe this will sound weird, but sometimes the softest kind of growth happens when you're still in love with someone who's not in your life anymore, because you learn who you are without them, and that's the part that actually sets you free." She ran a hand through her hair, staring into the microphone like she was speaking to that girl face to face. "You will not love him forever," she said gently. "Not like this, not in this painful, raw, consuming way. One day you'll wake up and realize you're not waiting anymore. It won't be a dramatic moment. It'll be something simple, like realizing a full day passed without thinking of him." Her lips curved into the smallest, saddest smile. "That day will feel like breathing again, I promise." She paused, chest moving slowly as she inhaled. "And for now, it's okay if your heart still hurts. It's okay if you still love him. Love isn't something you switch off just because life tells you to. You're human, and love is the most human thing we have." Another tear slid down her cheek. She didn't bother wiping it. "What I can tell you is this," she murmured. "He moved on. You saw that, and that's painful, but his story is his, and your story is just beginning." She took one more long breath. "Let him go, not because you stopped loving him, but because you started loving yourself more." Emma sat back, wiped her face again, and let the silence settle. Then she said quietly, "I think that's enough for today." She reached forward, hovered her finger over the stop button. Before she pressed it, she whispered, "And to the girl who sent that message, you remind me of someone I used to be, someone I'm proud of for surviving, and I hope one day you'll be proud of yourself too." Click. Recording stopped. Emma removed her headphones and leaned her head back against the sofa. Her eyes were still wet, but her breathing was steady. For the first time in a long time, she felt like she had told the truth. Not the influencer-friendly version, not the curated version, the real version, the one that remembered what it felt like to hurt. The apartment was quiet, too quiet. She stood, walked to the window, and looked out at the slow living city below her. Somewhere in that same city, maybe in a completely different one, the girl who had sent the message was probably staring at the ceiling, feeling like her heart was too big for her body. Emma whispered softly, to no one, "You're going to be okay." She wasn't sure if she meant the girl or herself, maybe both.